So the places where I'm getting lots of protein throughout this meal, and coming in plant-based ways, is the main thing is when I was choosing a dipping sauce for the first course, I chose sunflower seeds over maybe just a soy-based dipping sauce. This is actually a viscous mixture and has tamari and other really good flavorful things that don't add a ton of calories other than maybe sodium. But what you get when you swap these things out and have the inclusion of a neutral tasting seed as opposed to something like soya sauce, which is almost like a cheater kind of inclusion of something that you can include to a sauce. Sunflower seeds have a lot of really good natural oils and natural protein in them. So that's why I chose to include them in there as well. And in addition to that, on the main course, I also feature seeds as cheese that can be boiled on top of the pasta. But if you take this mixture and you toss it with hemp seeds as well, there's going to be nothing but benefits. Like taste won't be affected in any major way, and it's actually probably going to be texturally pleasant to have these seeds kind of broiled on top of the pasta along with the cheese. This adds color to it and makes it obviously healthier for the same reason that there's better fat from the oils that are leached out from the hemp oil, and there's protein coming from these as well. We also see small amounts of protein from the kale and collard greens, but really these are great for all the benefits of being a dark leafy green. So when you think of iceberg lettuce or something, collard greens and kale are basically on the other side of that in terms of them being dark and rich with vitamin C and vitamin K and tons of vitamin. It's a super vitamin rich option to use, and that's why that was used. And it's as simple as needing a crunchy element for that first course and something to dip in, and collard greens I thought was a natural best option, and it's a really delicious dish. And then I'm just going to refer to my page here. So also featured in the pasta are mushrooms, and they are high antioxidants and are known to fight free radicals, along with having vitamin B2, B3, B5, selenium, and copper, which are kind of rare to be finding naturally. And these are the kind of things that people would normally be taking vitamins for, but mushrooms are a really great way to include them. In the first course, the cabbage side is filled with fiber, potassium, vitamin C and A, and it's been grilled as opposed to a different preparation to make it tender. Grilling it still has crunch, but makes it more a cohesive course instead of just having raw cabbage. And what grilling does is it's a cooking option where none of the vitamins are getting leached out, and so it's just a light charring, and the effect of this is you have a warm textural component, but meanwhile none of the vitamins have been leached out in a way that boiling would totally demolish, especially purple cabbage. You'll be able to visually see the color leach out of the cabbage. So that's why grilling was used, and it's totally a delicious way of preparing vegetables. Pineapple has a huge amount of vitamin C, which is the reason why vitamin C is overflowing for the day's amount. Is the inclusion of pineapple along with the dark leafy greens and purple cabbage. And grilling allows the pineapple to become caramelized without adding any sugar at all. So naturally, as it's cooking away and kind of breaking down, caramelization will occur on the outside, and that's totally going to be appealing for a customer. But at the same time, no sugar is added, caramelization, and none of these vitamins are being leached out. Coconut milk is a healthy fat that's been included and has lots of potassium, dietary fiber, and magnesium. And the interesting thing, I was looking up black rice, which is visually what I wanted to include for this dish. And black rice has anthocyanins, photochemicals, which regulate and lower bad cholesterol and is a great source of fiber and protein. So really, when you want us focusing on fiber for this assignment, and it being a healthy menu, but we need lots of protein. This menu works out super well in terms of satisfying all those needs, and it comes from these natural sources like the black rice, like the cabbage and the dark leafy greens and the seeds that I've added. Everything kind of naturally pans out, which is speaks volumes in terms of how a diet like this can be sustainable. Not only have I gone through my macros in a perfect balance, but we are overflowing with all these extra nutrients that you need throughout your day. And there's tons of protein in it, which would kind of debunk a lot of myths, I would say, that are out there about eating vegetarian. So it's very cool. And then price-wise, most of this is based off kind of like peasantry food when you're thinking about cabbage and collard greens and kale. These are things that have a huge shelf life and can be grown relatively cheaply and aren't exclusive in terms of getting the stuff. Really, the only thing that would be adding cost was my dessert, black rice and the pineapple. So the black rice aspect, although it's initially a kind of exclusive item and costs a lot, this stuff you don't require a lot of it to get a lot of protein, and people don't necessarily want to be going through a whole bunch of black rice for their dessert. It's just kind of like a delicious textural contrast to the pineapple. So not a lot of it's needed, and I only had about 30 grams of the initial product that would be used for cooking, and that could be divvied among like 2 or 3 plates. So not a lot is needed for it to swell with water and gets totally huge, and then it's just crumbled on top and is totally rich with flavor. Then the pineapple is like necessarily a kind of expensive thing, and I've made way for it in terms of pricing by using lots of natural seasonings that come out from the main flavors themselves. So the example of that being hummus, where not a lot has to be added to make it a whole totally delicious thing. This is totally a minimal menu, and garlic is going to be one of the best things to accent. I have garlic in the acidic sauce for the cabbage wedges, and garlic roasted along with the butternut squash for the pasta course. This is kind of like my secret, is basically garlic going into everything, and that is included as a pantry item, so no extra cost is added in terms of putting that into my pricing. So pineapple being the biggest cost, and it being regulated out with peasantry foods, this menu is well under $15 for the three courses. So, yeah, I think that's about it, and I'll get back to you in a second with the next one. Thank you, Teresa.